Hello Africa is your live breakfast show delivering informative, entertaining, and energizing start to your day.
Our expert reviews break down the headlines and help you make sense of today's news.
We bring you nothing but the most interesting highlights on our top African stories.
Plus lifestyle features, inspiring interviews, and the best on the continent.
Every episode is packed with stories that inform, inspire, and celebrate the spirit of the continent.
Catch us live every Monday at 9 a.m.
And be part of the conversation on our social media platforms.
Hello Africa, bringing the continent to your morning.
Good day, Africa. You're welcome to the Hello Africa Morning Show. My name is Jemima Daladem Doche, and we are coming to you live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities here in Accra, Ghana. Now to our top African news for today. Sad news we bring to you this morning: an inquest into the death of Nigerian novelist Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's 21-month-old son Nkanu Nnamdi Ezekwe will formally begin on April 14th. The hearing will examine the circumstances surrounding the toddler's death at the Lagos hospital earlier this year. The date was set during the preliminary hearing at the Yaba Magistrates Court in Lagos, about 7 weeks after he died in UK Hospital.
During Wednesday's session, Magistrate Atinunke Adetunji directed all parties to file witness statements ahead of the inquest. The court is expected to hear evidence from medical experts and hospital representatives to determine the exact cause and circumstances of the child's death. According to submissions by Adichie's legal team, Nkanu has first been admitted to Atlantis Hospital with what was described as a worsening but mild illness. Plans were reportedly underway to transfer him to Johns Hopkins Hospital in the United States for further treatment. Before the transfer, Atlantis referred the toddler to Uracare for pre-flight investigations, including an MRI scan and a lumbar puncture. He died on January 7th after undergoing those procedures. In a legal notice issued 3 days later, lawyers for Adichie and her husband, Dr. Ivara Ezege, accused Uracare of negligence, alleging the child was denied oxygen and given excessive sedation, leading to cardiac arrest. The hospital has expressed its deepest sympathies but denies any wrongdoing, stating that its care met international standards. Age 48, is an award-winning writer known for internationally acclaimed novels, including Half of a Yellow Sun and Americana. The tragic death of her young son has sparked renewed debate over patient safety and healthcare standards in Nigeria.
Also, Zambia has suspended a proposed $1 billion health funding agreement with the United States after clauses reportedly tied aid to mining assets. Zimbabwe and Kenya have also raised concerns, describing same conditions as threats to national sovereignty and data control. The 5-year agreement was designed to support HIV/AIDS and malaria programs. However, Zambian officials say funding was tied to a separate bilateral compact involving access to the country's copper and cobalt resources.
President Hakainde Hichilema confirmed that Zambia has requested revisions to the memorandum, framing potential aid reduction as an opportunity for the country to take care of its own affairs. Advocacy group Health Gap criticized the proposed arrangements, arguing it would reduce life-saving funding while prioritizing mining interests. Meanwhile, Zimbabwe has withdrawn from a $367 million agreement, citing clauses that would grant immediate access to pathogen data without clear benefit sharing guarantees. A leaked letter from Zimbabwe's Foreign Affairs Ministry described the terms as clearly loop-sided as a compromise to national sovereignty. The Zimbabwean College of Public Health Physicians has urged authorities to re-engage, warning that treatment for more than 1 million people living with HIV could be at risk. In Kenya, the High Court has temporarily frozen implementation of a similar agreement amidst privacy concern. The African Center for Disease Control and Prevention has backed countries seeking to renegotiate terms. Director General Jane Kaseya says African nations must retain ownership of their data and shape their own health future. The development highlights growing tensions over foreign aid conditions and resource sovereignty across the continent.
A court in Tunisia has dismissed a legal request to suspend operations at a controversial fertilizer factory in Gabes, citing insufficient scientific proof of pollution-related harm. The ruling comes despite years of protest from residents and activists who blame the plant for serious health and environmental damages. Lawyers say they will appeal the decision.
A Tunisian court has rejected demands to halt operations at a fertilizer plant in Gabes, ruling that there is no sufficient technical and scientific evidence proving environmental harm. The case was filed by the Gabes Bar Association, led by Moner Adouni, who argued that pollution from the phosphate processing facility has contributed to rising health problems in the community. An audit by the African Development Bank last July reported major non-compliance with environmental standards at the plant, citing air and marine pollution from sulfur gases, nitrogen and fluorine emissions. Public anger has been mounting. Thousands of residents protested in October, accusing authorities of ignoring long-standing environmental concerns. Earlier this month, 12 members of the Stop Pollution movement were sentenced to 1 year in prison over a 2020 demonstration. Despite a 2017 government pledge to gradually close the factory, production is now being expanded. Authorities aim to increase output fourfold by 2030, seeking to benefit from rising global fertilizer prices. The African Development Bank has also approved $110 million for environmental upgrades at the facility. Her move, President Kais Saied says, will strengthen what he calls a pillar of Tunisia's national economy. The Gabes Bar Association says it will file an appeal on Friday. No date has been set for a final ruling.
Moving on, Ghana is losing more than 6.2 billion cedis each year to disease linked to poor waste management and sanitation, according to a new study by the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research at the University of Ghana. Researchers say increased investments in sanitation could generate massive economic returns and significantly reduce preventable death. The findings was presented at a high-level stakeholder forum in Accra on 26 February 2026, bringing together policymakers, members of parliament, development partners, and private sector actors.
The study, led by Professor Peter Kwate and Dr. Kwame Ejemante, examined both the economic and social impact of current sanitation practices and access potential gains from increased investments. According to the research, 5 major diseases linked to poor sanitation, malaria, cholera, pneumonia, typhoid fever, and diarrhea, account for nearly 31 million lost workdays each year, an estimated 177,222 deaths. Direct medical costs were estimated at 5.8 billion cedis annually, with an additional 650 million cedis lost through reduced productivity. Despite the scale of the problem, Ghana currently spends an average of just 38 cedis per ton of waste generated, a figure researchers describe as modest compared to the economic damage. Using cost-benefit modeling, the study found that under the current approach, every 1 cedi invested in waste management yields about 180 cedis in returns. Under a higher investment scenario, aligned with low-middle income country benchmarks, returns could rise to 556 cedis for every 1 cedi invested. Projected national benefits under enhanced investment could reach 58 billion cedis in 2025 and increase to 67.2 billion cedis by 2032, largely driven by reduction in diseases, mortality, and productivity losses. Professor Kwate urged government to stop treating sanitation as a residual expenditure, describing it instead as a high-return development investment critical to the public and economic growth. Stakeholders at the forum raised concerns about the disease attribution and implementation challenges, particularly in slum and rural communities. The research team noted that their modeling assumed 45% of selected diseases cases were linked to waste exposure and included sensitivity analysis to waste varying scenarios. Members of Parliament also called for stronger coordination among state institutions, with debate over whether to establish a national sanitation authority or strengthen existing systems. The researchers concluded that Ghana's sanitation-related losses far exceeded current spending levels and called for sustained investment, targeted intervention in high-risk communities, and stronger budgeting system at the local government level.
To 2 Ghanaian citizens being held as prisoners of war in Ukraine, describing the developments as a major diplomatic breakthrough in efforts to secure their release.
Ghana's Minister for Foreign Affairs has secured rare access to 2 Ghanaian citizens being held as prisoners of war in Ukraine. The minister disclosed that he was granted entry into a highly fortified security facility where the 2 men were being detained, a move he described as unprecedented for an African foreign minister. He thanked Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha for approving the request. According to Mr. Ablakwa, the 2 Ghanaians are alive and in good condition, with their rights under international law being respected by Ukrainian authorities. He said the gesture reflects strong bilateral relations between Ghana and Ukraine and strengthens confidence in the ongoing negotiations for their release. The identities of the detainees have not been disclosed for security reasons. However, the minister revealed that both men have expressed a determination to use their experience to campaign against trafficking networks and educate vulnerable Africans about the dangers of such schemes. The development marks a significant step in Ghana's diplomatic push to secure the safe return of its citizens caught up in foreign conflicts.
That is all for our top African stories. Up next is News Review. Stay tuned.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with aautv. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on aautv. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. aautv reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch aautv free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at aautv. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAUTV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Are you a university, college, high school, private organization, NGO, individual professor, instructor, or facilitator seeking to take advantage of the numerous benefits of online education? Look no further. The AAU eLearn Africa LMS is a great opportunity to begin your journey to online course development and creation for teaching, learning, and training purposes. AAU eLearn Africa LMS, which is a partnership between the Association of African Universities and eLearn Africa has made available ease to use online learning tools to all stakeholders within the educational ecosystem of the African continent. This is to enhance teaching and learning in the bid to expand online learning opportunities for students in Africa. The online platform is open and available for free to all stakeholders and facilitates virtual access to classes without needing the other tools such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, among others. For more information, visit www.elearnafricalms.com or contact us via aaulms@aau.org or estherm@elearnafrica.com. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at AAU eLearn Africa LMS.
Ever wondered what drives ordinary people to do extraordinary things? Every week, a new story unfolds. But these aren't just stories. They are the journeys of courage, resilience, and vision. On Impact Stories, we open the door to remarkable personalities and everyday heroes. Experience the passion behind their purpose. Witness the setbacks, the breakthroughs, and the moment that defines a legacy. Journey with us on aautv every Saturday at 4 p.m. as we celebrate those who are making an impact. Tune in to Impact Stories, where real people share real journeys and real impact, each one leaving behind a legacy written in gold, only on AAUTV.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.
A wonderful welcome to you, our viewers across the continent, and also I believe you're doing well. It's Hello Africa News Review section, and earlier on we had Mama Dola Doche giving us the news, and now we're back to the review. And today I'm doing this with my colleague here, quite a wonderful figure, the person of Nkunim Kwabena Yeboah. Nkunim, how you doing?
Fine, thank you, sir.
How was your weekend?
Such a good one.
Splendid, splendid. You are missing Philemon Edwards. He'll be back later on. But today, it's me and Nkunim doing this today. And we commence off with the trend of the month. So it is Ghana month, Nkunim. And when it's Ghana month in month of March, it's like the month of Africa. Because Ghana being the first country to gain independence, opening the gates for other countries to follow, it's an iconic month within the African continent. So we say it is the Ghana stroke Africa month. So how are we expecting things to roll out in this month? What's your, I would say, your goal for March?
March basically would be a month that would ask me to literally think about the history of Ghana and Africa, where we've come from. Notable figures like Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Yes.
There are effective works that still live on today. I think personally, one thing it's going to make me do is think of what I can do to leave a lasting impact on Ghana's heritage, political scope. You know, making an impact, a legacy that will continue to live even after I've been out of the space.
Splendid. So it's Ghana month. We're made in Ghana, so we do what Ghana does. So I mean, this month we'll try and then do rep more Ghana. We're wearing more fugu, not the blouse. Excuse me, not the blouse, fugu, okay, and a whole lot more Ghana and Africa as well. So, in the larger scale, Africa. But tuning into the story today, the very first story up for discussion is that University of Namibia and University of South Africa partner to launch Africa's Space Telescope project. And you know, since 1947, Africa has had its way open for space programs. So it's been a series of programs here and there, and Egypt leads the whole program with 9 space activities all over. But however, we also have other countries as well. But let's see what UNAM and UNISA have partnered to do in terms of their space program.
Pan-African University Council and the president of the Association for African Universities, as well as the member of the Association of Commonwealth Universities Council. I just want to say the opportunity that is being provided on this site is significant for Africa, because it will be the only telescope that will be built on the continent. And we are working gradually to make sure that African universities have a very strong voice and a very strong space in science development. And we would like to invite members of these institutions that I have indicated to work with us to make sure that Africa's resources are converted into capacities that are changing lives that have impact for the future. Thank you.
The idea of being the first universities in the region and in the continent to collaborate with our partners from other geographic horizons has become even more urgent for the quality of science that has to be produced by ourselves as Africans. The second aspect is that the geographic location of the Gamsberg Mountain makes it easier to do this research.
The potential is immense. We should remember that for 50 years, this particular site has been known as being the top in the world. But
though we have a very incredible partnership between Professor Batengu from UNAM and then Professor Puleng from UNISA to advance this telescope project, and it aims to close Africa's gap in radio astronomy, develop scarce scientific skills, and strengthen Africa's participation in global knowledge production, shifting the continent from being primarily a consumer of science to becoming a co-creator of it. Including, how do we count these feats in this century?
Well, I think this is one of the most amazing things for the African continent, not just these two universities that are in Africa, but it's literally because of the kind of context in which we find ourselves in. Mostly used to consumption, but now we're going to be co-creators. And I'll just link this to one interesting thing that we all are used to. That's just like renting in a space, though, probably in Ghana. Anyone who's renting will definitely want to build one day, right? So to the point where you're going to have control over resources and you can do what you feel like you want to do. So we have the opportunity to explore and to even do things that the West is not ready for us yet, basically.
You know, this is a brilliant one. It's a brilliant submission, and also brilliant step from these two universities. It isn't the first time Africa is making such strides within the space, within the space. We have such launches here and there. But one is eager to ask that we have a myriad of economic misfortunes and a lot of setbacks that perhaps kind of disperses our priorities. So do you think that in the midst of all these teeming economic issues, which all really required that attention, we still need to rub shoulders and maybe put our names on the space desk? Do we really have to do this?
Right. So one thing we can take note from this is that it's not only limited to space exploration, but that it's actually an avenue to explore different things that affect our daily lives. In that particular sense, you can realize that it's not just about just space, but it could actually fool individuals within the African continent to also think about different things that can affect us in our daily lives. So you can see the rise of inventions, you can see the rise of people actually investing in young tech individuals in terms of coding, programming, and the like, just to make sure that we're also a hub for technological improvement as well.
That's amazing. And just the last one on this program is that we have several countries engaging in these space programs. Nigeria, the top three, you have Egypt, Algeria, Nigeria, Morocco, who have quite beyond more than 2 space programs at the moment in Africa. And these are mainly driven by the national space agencies and not necessarily universities who are backed. But you find this one is quite unique because University of Namibia and University of South Africa are the ones engaged in this. You may want to know, is the government of Namibia, government of South Africa really involved? But can this be the beginning? I think in Ghana was All Nations University as well, All Nations University, also leading that launch. But can we say that this is the opening of the flag for University of South Africa to also start making such strides in space research and technology launch?
I think that is actually what we can say, because I believe that independence in the tertiary space is something that is invaluable, right? Mainly because these are the people that actually understand what they need and how to go about it in the first place. So we can actually have some government support and all, but as long as the universities on their own are empowered to do things of this sort, they have the intellectual prowess, they have the willing students, they can change the structure and the systems of the academic system to ensure that people can actually have these things tailored towards their interest and raise a number of people that can actually go all the way to ensure that new things that develop our daily lives are actually achieved. And so this is something that I think is very important. The independence is something that we cannot negotiate.
And on that note, you find that as keen, because then we open the room for, the independence of universities will show, and through these innovative ways, we can appreciate that. Now, next story, if you're following, it's Ghana's State of the Nation Address and Review in areas of education, infrastructure, agriculture, health, and a whole lot. We're quite encircling here. So we will take it from what happened last week, Friday, if you're following here in Ghana. Ghana's President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, led the presentation of the State of the Nation's Address. And there are a number of things one can really appreciate of what he did. On a very special Friday, he decided to represent the culture. We call it the reset culture, the fugu, the swag, in very wonderful colors, in that kind of splendor, expressing how Ghana has done in the past year. And this zone had so many unique aspects that we will talk about today. The very first one is the area of the finance aspect. So let's take a quick look at what really happened at the Parliament during the SONA last week.
From economic sovereignty. The same logic applies to trade, industry, and economic growth. Africa's future lies in dismantling our artificial borders, removing bottlenecks that stifle commerce, and fully activating a common market that allows our goods, services, and capital and ideas to move freely across the continent. No single African country, no matter how well endowed, can thrive alone in this new global environment. Rather, when we work together, our combined markets, our youthful populations, our natural resources, and our creativity will constitute one of the greatest economic opportunities of this century. Africa must summon the courage to shape its own hand in hand with our African brothers and sisters to shape a future that is defined by shared strength, dignity, and prosperity.
That was Ghana's President, John Mahama, and delivering the State of the Nation Address. And including, let's take it from this point of view. So let's start with the economic status. So if Ghana was right before us, we were reading and assessing the economic health from fiscal policy, how would we rate Ghana currently, fiscal-wise, per what the president presented, with inflation, with interest rates, and with the stability of the city? How would you evaluate the performance so far?
All right, so thank you for that question. I think ideally when it comes to matters of economic fiscal stuff, it basically has to do with how it affects the average Ghanaian, right? And so if we have things like inflation dropping all the way to below 5% as it stands now, we have the traders in the market compliment the government on the significant reduction of prices of goods and services. We have them take strides in transportation. So many policies they have in that. I think these are things that actually motivate people to come into Ghana, to invest. It even allows young entrepreneurs to actually believe that there's hope for them to do a number of things. And as long as you have the youth who seem to be unemployed and they don't have a lot of business opportunities, can now start businesses. They can do one or two things to ensure that they can also be economically stable. One of the most outstanding things for me has to be the GDP crossing the $100 billion mark. Such a significant thing that shows how much of this research agenda is something we can actually trust in the long run. So I believe we're on the right course. Once we have the average people commending the government, we have them actually bringing very good interest rates to all these loans and all. We believe that investments should increase. We believe young people can start their businesses, and entrepreneurship would be on the rise, and the economy is on the right track.
It is interesting with the area of fiscal management. I think that is also done incredibly. Government's own intention, cutting its expenditure, very intentional about that. Or will not make some payments. We'll try and then hold things down and ensure that we save and then we don't make payments out of just impulse, but we make it based on necessity. Also helped a lot because we'll be able to sustain expenditure and then create more room for GDP to work. Yeah. Let's look at the aspect of the, so he mentioned about GDP growing, that is 200 billion plus. We also saw the aspect of the interest rate falling. We saw the area of inflation from 23 to less than 5%. It's also a good sign, given that kind of relief. In the area of expenditure, where policy-driven expenditure, where you see, is this policy working? It has to get paid, employment, because these things also drain. How would you say government has been able to make that work in terms of expenditure backing policies for employment, for expansion? How about that as well?
All right, so regarding expenditure, I don't think we can tag this particular government as one that spends a lot, especially because of the situation which they found themselves in the first tenure, the first year. But I believe that once all these mechanisms, such as restructuring the economy to ensure that we have a higher GDP, we have interest rates falling, people are actually being motivated to invest into the country, I believe that gradually you can have them have that leverage or freedom, financial freedom, to start spending on the things that are important. But I believe if you look at our president's speech, you realize that he's not looking for things that are just going to benefit people, but not bring in something in return for the state. So it's more of like a long-term plan to ensure that everything that we're spending on can bring us more value in the long run. And that in itself, I believe, is something that is the right step. And so not so much of impulse spending, and it's one that is specifically calculated to ensure that we can stabilize the economy, not incur so much of debt. I believe it's the best decision for us.
The president in his presentation also attributed this humongous growth, unprecedented growth, to gold production. So he mentioned that the gold exchange program, the gold reserves program, is helping. That's really catapulted our GDP. And now even gold price on the world market are actually in focus, seem to appreciate, and therefore it is a way we can capitalize to also build ourselves as an economy. But it is also a bit dicey on the other hand, because we understand our gold trajectory in this country and appreciate where these motivations of gold increase will be coming from. Are we not on the brink of losing our value, of losing ourselves in terms of GDP rise, whilst we also lose a lot of our, I would say, environmental sanctity?
Yeah, so I think that's a very important question regarding the fact that gold exchange programs are on the rise, but we look at the environmental status and it doesn't look encouraging. I believe first off, we need to make the people that head such institutions like the Environmental Agency Protection accountable. First off, what are the plans, the metrics, the mechanisms they're going to employ or deploy to ensure that we actually protect these spaces? The forest reserves are untouchable, but we're still able to make a lot of resources in the long run. I believe it has to be Ghanaians reaching out to them to make them actually state out what their plans are. Because literally everyone here is stuck with, we would solve the problem. We're going to make sure that things are going to get better. We're going to arrest people and so on and so forth. But the question then is, what is the plan? When the plan has been drawn and Ghanaians are well abreast with it, I believe that's where the change can come in. So if it's just a matter of people making promises that we would solve the problem, and here the illegal miners now feel like we can mine and then sell to the government, that's a problem. So the question then is there a structure to ensure that we are going to scrutinize where or the sources of these miners.
Doing the gold trace, where they're coming from.
So until we can actually bring up a strategy or structure to scrutinize the source of their production, we're not going anywhere. We can make noise about the increase in GDP, gold board doing so well, but until we scrutinize these things, it's a gradual process. We're going to crumble in the long run.
Absolutely, I agree with you, because, you know, we are seeing great reserves in our gold tonnage, from 63 to 100 and something tons of gold reserves. It's good, But here, like the case, we're unable to track where these goals are coming from. We know that the president said this has been able to curb artisanal mining and illegal mining to a point, which is quite gloomy and bleak. How has that curbed? Because the value of gold has risen. We have monopolized gold purchase here in Ghana, so you have to go through gold board before you can export. And now you can't smuggle because the motivation for smuggling is not there because the price of gold on the world market is high, and the gold board is paying pretty well for your gold. So therefore, there's no need to smuggle. Why smuggle? So yes, there's motivation for you to bring the gold, but are we really looking at trying to get it through the right tracks? Are people now mining the right ways? Are we still losing our water? Temperature levels, are they still in sound? Are lands being reclaimed? So I think it's a whole ecosystem that we have to look at. And not only the gains, are also the source. Also matters. You want to add to that, or we should move to the next item?
Well, I think just a little bit I'll add to it is basically about what you said about gains, right? Yeah. We're gaining and we're losing on the other end.
Yes.
So we should actually look for a balance where we can gain on both ends and have a level of sustainability for the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The president also mentioned about the employment. He said, at the moment, we have 1 million Ghanaians who have found jobs. And that, I think, later on sparked some controversy. So, like, it doesn't mean that 1 million people have found jobs in Ghana. But if looking into the matters pretty well, we got to appreciate that these were net jobs. Because what the president said in the SONA and what the Statistical Service was saying were quite different. So they said there's, I think, 330,000 jobs which were realized in 2025 and not 1 million. So there's like this 600,000 plus in between. Where are those jobs? But then we get to hear that, well, these are net jobs. After people gaining and losing jobs, the total net jobs were 330. So now we want to appreciate what exactly is the point when it comes to employment gain in 2025, and what was exactly the motivation for the president's 1 million job statement that he made?
All right. So literally from the previous engagements in Parliament concerning stuff like the big push, right, which is yet to be undertaken, I don't know if there's been an addition of the numbers there to what his statements were, but looking at it, if there's the idea that a lot of things have been stabilized, business owners now feel like they can employ more people, and because interest rates are low, if they go for loans and all, it's a better system than before. I believe he's basically projecting that a lot of people now have the opportunity to access jobs because the economy has been stabilized. If people initially were not going to certain markets because of high prices or high entry levels, now it's been reduced. So that's why I was saying earlier on that the younger people can now start their jobs. And also looking into the Forex market, for example, where there was a pump into the Forex market, you realize that people can now also work at home. In that sense, it's been a collation of all these avenues and systems to ensure that they can reach the numbers that they're mentioning. But actually, the jobs people are looking for are the office jobs in Ghana. A lot of the university graduates are looking for the companies to employ them and all. And that's where the problem comes in. So until people have the specialized knowledge, 1, and 2, qualification of the highest degrees and matters, we're not going to have the kind of sufficiency we're looking for in terms of unemployment in Ghana.
Interesting. So we're still looking for the 600,000 jobs in between the 1 million and 300,000 that the Statistical Service was saying, to appreciate where exactly they're coming from. But the president also mentioned that one of the biggest policies to turn around employment will be the 24-hour economy. And it's actually been held or hinged in agriculture, because that is where we're going to have an accelerated approach to create more jobs and also enhance exports. This is yet to be achieved. The bill was signed recently, and we'll look forward to find those jobs. But whilst we wait for that, do you believe, or do you think that this 24-hour economy policy within the agro-export area is really going to be very lucrative to engulf all young people, so that the numbers we're talking about, the 3:1 approach, will work here?
All right. So speaking of the agricultural sector, there's a lot of questions and problems in the Ghanaian space about that sector. First off, a lot of youth are going to be the ones that are going to go into that space, or should be the ones who are to go into that space. But come to think of it, I don't see a large number of youth going there, especially people who would have the tertiary education in spaces like the University of Ghana, they go to Tech, they go to UCC. These are people looking for white-collar jobs.
Yes.
In that sense, going all the way there means that you've got to be incentivized.
Yes.
The question then is, how are you going to incentivize these people when it's not already built as a sector? So that's another question in that space. Are you going to go for loans to incentivize them? Is there certain levels of payments that you're going to use? But in the event where we are going to bring in AI, the question then is, how would you effectively balance the human resource and the artificial intelligence as well?
Yeah.
Because once you introduce the artificial intelligence, a lot of human resource or human labor would not be needed.
Yes.
The question then is, where's the funding to acquire such equipment in this particular state? So I believe that it's a matter of excessive honesty, right?
Yeah.
That we can't really achieve that in the long run. We're taking so many youth all the way there. Because first off, a lot of youth already exist in those places,
Yes.
probably places like the north, etc. In that sense, they would first of all want to embrace it over there. I don't think they're going to leave it for shifts for people from Accra to go all the way there. If they're going to go there,
approach, wouldn't they work over there?
I don't think it's going to work over there. I don't think, because people going all the way from here there would require housing.
Yeah.
They'll need a lot of space for accommodation. They've got to look for places for tourist reserves and a lot. It's going to be cost. It's going to take a lot of cost. It's going to take a lot of time. I don't think a lot of youth are going to go there. I believe it can be successful, but a lot of funding has to go into it. And the question is, where is this funding coming from?
I agree with you. Where they come from? Well, still on Sona. Still on Sona. Stay with us on Sona. And it is also now into education, which is a very, very important aspect of our development. You mentioned that there were skill gaps. That's why these jobs can be attained. We seem to have a lot of skill gap. And the president mentioned that he has plans to enhance education, particularly in technical education, where he would ensure that skill-based institutions will be established, more of them, to ensure that they will be mainly adding up skills, strengthening skills, and helping young people gain skills to help them, vocational technical skills, to make them start their own business after school. So that is a good forecast that you can lay. But the question is, when we lay this forecast, we have lots of items like he's looking to have new housing unit for teachers, establish 3 new technical universities in Ghana. These are amazing plans, no doubt about it. But currently, within the essential skill-based space, where we don't count teachers as essential workers in Ghana. We only count the fire, security, and the health personnel as essential. But I think teachers should be added to essential, because they all came from teachers, which should be something later on. But looking at these ambitious ideas for teachers and for universities, what becomes of the existing tranche of teachers who are graduated and waiting for placement and haven't got it yet? What becomes of them in terms of being assimilated or being integrated within the system to work and earn something, rather than having these buoyant infrastructure plans in place? Do you think there's a mismatch here?
So I do believe that they have such an amazing plan. It's commendable, especially looking at housing and all. I think those are very amazing things. But the problem here is, if you're going to invest in certain skills, you're going to bring about certain institutions. The question is, what kind of institutions are you going to bring about? You speak of technical skills. What kind of technical skills? So I believe what can actually bring about a lot of clarity for the Ghanaian space, especially teachers or people who want to go into those spaces, is a lot of specificity. So we're going to do it based on probably carpentry works. We're going to do it based on probably something in relation to AI. So we are well vexed. We know what exactly the government's plan is in terms of technological advancement and technical skill development. Beyond this, bringing about these institutions, it's a lot of money. How are you going to do that? Is it going to be a collaboration with the private sector? If so, what are the terms going to look like? Now, with teachers who recently graduated, is there going to be a reform to the existing structures that exist those are questions that are unanswered. So those who just recently graduated, are they just going to be added to the already existing structures? If so, then what is the value they are adding to these spaces? Because if they're already functional without them, what added advantage can they bring on board if you are stating that the already existing structure is not one that is so dependable? So if that's the case, I believe that a lot of attention also has to be given to a reconstruction of what exactly people are already abreast with. So I've already been taught probably early child education, but now I've got to take another course on AI training, AI skills, AI career essential skills. I've got to take another program on programming, coding, robotics, so that I do not become outdated looking at the current advancements in the system. So I believe one thing that we have to do is to first of address the current educational system, show the loopholes, explain explicitly where the solutions are coming from and how human resources, people have invested time in going to school. Yeah. So many years, training college, and you're just going to dump them. I don't think that can be done. Yeah. So what we can do then is to be honest with them, show them the skills they've got to add up with, and I believe that is the solution to all of this.
Sure, and one other thing that government could do, you see, it is not always necessary for you to restart something or remake something. Sometimes you can update something. There are already telecom investors in the country. They may have their own capacity gaps. And you can go there and say, well, I want us to now add these to it. Some of them even have lacking a lot of infrastructure, machines, tools that will help you polish your skill up. Many of them. And many of them are also enjoying foreign direct investment. I can cite the Cape Coast Telecom University in Cape Coast. They are actually at the benefit of a Chinese government intervention that built them a very magnanimous fab lab. That's a combination of mechanical engineering, fashion, and whole lot in one building. And it wasn't built by the government of Ghana. It was built by the Chinese government. So it means that, and many more institutions in the country may have this same lacks in there, which I believe can be assessed, evaluated, and also built or updated or strengthened. So why don't we strengthen incumbent or let's say existing capacities rather than doing new ones? Then they become ivory towers and the old one becomes obsolete over time. Why do we do that?
I think one thing that the current government believes is a vision also has to do with proximity to these places. So places probably like the north, the upper part of the country, may not necessarily have all these facilities. So what they believe then they can do, because for somebody living in the north, coming all the way to Accra here, you're going to be exhausted when it comes to high cost of living and the like. So to allow these individuals have a proximate nature to these spaces, why not build some institutions up there? I believe that is fine, but then again, that also exposes the current status in places like Accra. That means that the average person cannot live in Accra. Yes. So I believe one thing we can do, first of all, is look forward to the possibility of creating such institutions like the technical universities in those places. But the very first question is, are these people ready to learn? Are these people ready to forego the agricultural sector that they are well invested into to move into technological spaces or technical spaces like these? If these questions are answered, that's when I believe that you can look at proximity. If they don't want to come all the way down here, they can stay up there, have maybe 1 or 2 centers, not universities, which require a lot of resources when it comes to management. You're going to look at waste management, you're going to look at the staff and the like. So why not actually have centers, maybe not at the standard of universities? They may have all the equipment, the people they need, but they should not reach the standard of universities. It should take a lot of resources to maintain in the first place.
Interesting. And we can go on and on with this one, but I think there's a fair justice done to the SONA. So let me just ask you, Kunim, in the whole presentation, the pros and cons, the shortfalls, the achievements, your evaluation of Ghana for 2025-2026 over 10.
I think I'll give us a 7.
A 7?
A 7.
I think I'll do 7 too as well.
7.
Let's do 7 over 10, Mr. President, well done. And we believe that there are some parts that ought to be strengthened for that strengthening for the collective good of the ordinary Kenyan. And moving on is Sudan condemns drone strikes on Kordofan University. And this is quite an unfortunate one. Sudan's Ministry of Higher Education condemned drone strikes on the University of Kordofan in El Obeid, accusing the rapid support forces of targeted academic institutions. The attack destroyed major venues, including the halls of Kordofan and Gosh. A UN report confirms significant campus damage. Let's see what really happened there. So here we are. We see Sudan quite volatile for the past 5 years in terms of their collective sanctity and movement of democracy. It hasn't been a very safe zone for higher education. Many educational, I would say, activities halted because there were lots of standing conflict here and there. And here we find another strike from the same rapid support forces targeting academic institutions. What exactly, I mean, basically this is a condemnable act that come from the Sudan government towards this act of violence against higher education. But let's take it from our perspective as neighbors. I mean, right within the country, this is unheard of. It's actually very wrong. But as neighbors, how do we view this act of violence going after higher education or education mainly? What is the effect on the country's progress?
All right. So I believe that education plays one of the most significant roles to any African, and specifically African because of the kind of situations in which we find ourselves in, our development. Because first off, if we're going to have these individuals actually being exported, maybe probably through capital flight or something, the problem there is that the kind of heights in terms of intellectual prowess, knowledge acquisition that these individuals could have attained are being sidelined. It gets to the point where people may not necessarily even reach the standards that already exist, let alone surpass the standards. In that sense, we cannot have people like the Kofi Annans again rising because their educational ambitions have been curtailed due to a series of violent activities and attacks towards them. I can believe that these attacks are actually intentional, just because that they believe the intellectuals that would speak up are from these very institutions. So if I do not want anyone to stand up against me, why don't I rather attack where they can form a base and be a strong voice? Because even places like the University of Ghana, when things do not go well, it's the student leaders whose voices are heard. These are where they come together, make alliances, and make their statements for the country or the states to listen to them. So these spaces are very instrumental. And once you crumple these spaces, I don't think any voice for the youth that is strong would be heard.
That is on point. You can appreciate that some of the drone strikes destroyed key facilities at the Kordofan University, part of wider attacks on higher education institutions across Sudan. And you make it loud clear that this is where you find the elitists of people who are academically inclined and will have that confidence to make a statement boldly will come from. So they will target institutions that would distract everything going on there, put fear and panic in them, and then get no one to stand up and then speak democratically. And that is one key point against that. But let's look at the issue of there have been reports about students being displaced, killings and closure of campuses, and entire regions in Darfur now lack functional higher education access, and the future of Sudan as a component of Africa. What does it look like if we're going to sit down and find the rapid forces do this to a country in a continent which is liberated, a continent that has a unified body called the African Union? What then do we start to lose?
We start to lose a lot. We start to lose a lot of things as probably a country first off, even as the continent, because that basically means that to a large extent, it sends a signaling message or effect to the rest of the world that we're not so keen on protecting our academic prowess. Because if academic institutions could be attacked and there's little to no retaliation on these activities, and the question then is, how much do you value these spaces, and how much do you value the academic growth of your citizens in that particular space? But one thing that I believe is a problem to the rest of the world is the kind of support that these people are not receiving, right? By now, 5 years down the line, they receive massive support from all angles. And once this hasn't come, the problem then is, how would someone be confident to even invest in this country again? Where are the people who are going to respond to your prices of goods and services, your businesses, and all of that? So I believe that there's going to be a damaging effect in the years to come if action is not taken immediately. One, on the rise of young politicians who might, because I've not really heard of voices that really want to stand out because of the risk at hand. So at this point in time, what I'm looking forward to that should happen is probably a very massive or strong intervention from international spaces like the UN and probably AU and so many other spaces come in and fight for them. But if that is not done, I do not think Sudan can rise to a place of prominence once again.
Absolutely. I think that it's about time that international organizations like the AU, others as well should step in and restore the sanctity in Sudan, because we can't afford to lose the lives of people over there. They are also Africans, and we all want to be together. So we can't afford to have this happen in Africa. We can't afford to do that at all. And this is where we wrap on the news review. It's been an amazing time thus far, assessing and evaluating these stories and reviewing them to the best of our ability. But it's been a great time. Whilst we try to culminate this session and then climax it up, what is your own forecast for Africa in terms of this year with all that's happening? Do we see some good lights in the continent?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. Well, I think we do see some good lights, especially even from our very own immediate space, Ghana. We see the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, being praised across the states in Africa, being an unopposed chair. And these are signs that show that people or the Africans are actually maturing and appreciating anyone that actually puts in a lot of effort to ensure that Africa is out there. You know, all the way from last year, looking at the speeches at the UN General Assembly, these were speeches by the President of Senegal. We have our own President, John Mahama, also do massively well, where they receive a lot of praise from all the spaces across the globe. We recently saw the President's visit to another African country that boosted the fugu market.
Justice for fugu.
Exactly. So it tells you that we're actually going in the right direction. But one problem that I believe already exists and still should be addressed is where, in as much as we're progressing in so many spaces like this, some countries are getting closer, better bilateral trade deals and all, we tend to neglect spaces where there's conflict that needs to be solved immediately.
Absolutely.
So it gets to a point where it feels like people are thinking about just themselves, but we do not necessarily take into consideration the impact that such occurrences can have even on ourselves. Because who knows, probably there might be a citizen of yours there, but if nothing at all, for the good of the African continent, there should be an emergency call or meeting to address the chaos that exists in places like Sudan, to ensure that the African continent merges forward as a unified whole. Splendid.
And that's how we crown this segment of this program. We bring you the next one, which is the lifestyle segment. On point to know that Africa is actually at the verge of growth. We should ensure that all the guns are silenced so we can see that collective growth together. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere. We bring you Lifestyle with Jemima.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with aautv. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on aautv. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. aautv reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch aautv free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at aautv. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAUTV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Hello Africa, keep watching AAUTV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
PANDEMITHON 2026 has announced an Africa-first scientific initiative focused on advancing the MPOX vaccine project through research, collaboration, and capacity building. The program will feature 3 key workshops: epidemiology and bioinformatics from 2nd to 4th March 2026 at AfriVax Ghana Limited, egg vaccine production and bioanalysis from 23rd to 28th March 2026 at the School of Pharmacy in Mandi Azikwe University, Accra, Nigeria, and a final session on presentation of findings and the way forward on June 4th, 2026 at Accra. The initiative aims to strengthen Africa's vaccine development capacity and promote locally driven solutions to emerging infectious diseases. Register via the link on your screen, and for more enquiries, email gc.uzochukwu@unizik.edu.ng or WhatsApp +234 803 547 6925.
The Association of African Universities, AAU, via its official television platform, invites universities, research institutions, centers of excellence, as well as faculty, researchers, and students to submit their ideas for the upcoming season of HEALTHAFRIK, our health program. This season of HEALTHAFRIK is dedicated to showcasing health-related research, innovation, and institutional impact emerging from African higher education and research ecosystems. The program provides a continental platform for translating academic work into accessible narratives that reach universities, policymakers, development partners, and communities across Africa. We welcome submissions in these areas: health research and innovation, digital health and technological solutions, public health and community health interventions, and any health-related areas. Send enquiries to Ms. Isabella Ahinakwa at ahinakwa@aau.org.
The WAREN 2026 conference represents a key upcoming event focused on advancing research ethics in West Africa. Organized under the auspices of the New York University of Ghana Research Integrity Training Program, the conference is titled West African Research Ethics Network, WAREN 2026, invites participation and contributions to the WAREN 2026 conference themed Strengthening Research Ethics Capacity in West Africa through Global Partnerships. Venue is Medical Training and Simulation Center, University of Ghana Medical Center, UGMC, Legon Campus. Dates is from the 23rd to 25th of March 2026 from 9 a.m. GMT. Contributions welcome brief statement on partnership benefits or panel discussion slots. Free accommodation is available from the 22nd to 25th of March, available for in-person attendees. For more details, including registration, visit the official website on your screens. And for more enquiries, email ritp@ug.edu.gh.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAU TV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAU TV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAU TV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAU TV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAU TV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Experience the future of mobility. This is March to 6 April 2026. The spotlight shines on the Ghana International Mall at Spinkters as the premium car show takes over the main road for one full month of automotive excellence. From sleek sedans to powerful SUVs, cutting-edge motorcycles to the latest in auto accessories, this is where innovation meets opportunity. Dealers, mechanics, financial institutions, insurers, and industry leaders unite under one roof to showcase and connect. With space for over 500 vehicles, premium indoor and outdoor exhibition areas, this is more than a car show, it's a lifestyle experience. The Premium Car Show. Showcase your brand, expand your network, drive your sales. The Premium Car Show. We write history together.
Ever wondered what drives ordinary people to do extraordinary things? Every week, a new story unfolds. But these aren't just stories. They are the journeys of courage, resilience, and vision. On Impact Stories, we open the door to remarkable personalities and everyday heroes. Experience the passion behind their purpose. Witness the setbacks, the breakthroughs, and the moment that defines a legacy. Journey with us on AAU TV every Saturday at 4 p.m. as we celebrate those who are making an impact. Tune in to Impact Stories, where real people share real journeys and real impact, each one leaving behind a legacy written in gold. Only on AAU TV.
Hello Africa is your live breakfast show delivering informative, entertaining, and energizing start to your day.
Our expert reviews break down the headlines and help you make sense of today's news.
We bring you nothing but the most interesting highlights on our top African stories.
Plus lifestyle features, inspiring interviews, and the best on the continent.
Every episode is packed with stories that inform, inspire, and celebrate the spirit of the continent.
Catch us live every Monday at 9 a.m.
And be part of the conversation on our social media platforms.
Hello Africa, bringing the continent to your morning.
Hello Africa. Keep watching AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water. Share the love and Bigo Drinks.
Welcome back from the break, and if you just joined us, this is still the Hello Africa Morning Show, and this is the lifestyle segment. My name is Jemima Daladem. So today on the lifestyle segment, we want to highlight an essential skill that many students, or let me say young professionals, often overlook, and that is financial literacy. And while we all know that degree could open a door for you, to be able to earn an income, you equally need the financial knowledge and discipline to help you sustain the knowledge, the wealth that you have been able to acquire. Today, I have with me amazing guests who will be with me today as we discuss an event coming up at UPSA, which is the Financial Literacy Masterclass. So I have with me on my immediate right, Ambassador Bernard Kwam, who is the CEO of Level Up Consults Limited. You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. And I also have with me Bill Gates, Eliklim Kuvor. You're both welcome.
Thank you.
Before we start, are you related to Bill Gates?
No,
no, not at all, right? All right, so you're both welcome.
Thank you so very much.
Okay, I think I've had you here before, and this is your second time. How do you feel, though?
Well, exciting.
Good to be back.
It's your very nice being here. Yeah.
Thank you. So we understand that Financial Literacy Masterclass is happening at UPSA, and we want you to tell us what it is about and what's even brought about this particular initiative.
Is Brigade going on?
I want you to begin for us.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity. I think you guys are doing incredibly well, AAU. And if you are watching, I'd like you to make this place a place of continuous listening. Okay.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd also like to thank Mr. Samuel Wating, who is our lead consultant with the training and development, department at LUP.
Okay.
And the whole idea, should I say, was inspired by him through the department. He brought it to management, we discussed, and we thought it's a very important thing that is often overlooked.
Okay.
And so we thought to pilot it, and thanks to, is it DASA? UPSA, and they embraced it, and their enthusiasm and readiness to understand exactly what it is what has really motivated us to get thus far. So Bill Gates, your team, good. And I think as we progress, we will learn more about why it's so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Bill Gates, let me come to you. Why is financial literacy especially, important to students and young professionals?
Thank you so much. So there's always a saying that teach the child the way he should go, and when he grows, he will not depart from it. And I believe at the university level, this is where most of the skills are honed. So if we are able to get it to students, for them to get the actual concept of financial literacy and how best they can manage their finances, it will stay with them. Since most of the students are in their early 20s. The skills you acquire in your early 20s help in your late 30s and 40s.
Okay, so in your experience, what do you think are some of the biggest financial mistakes that students, or let me say graduates, make?
Okay, so per my experience, from what I've seen with students, most students do impulse buy. Some spend or live lives maybe they can't afford because we are all in the hostel, we are in the school. Maybe this person has a car, I also want to drive a car, I would go and rent and all that. It's something like a pressure, you understand? Everyone wants to be that kind of person, and it forces them to spend abysmal.
Okay, would you want to add something, Mr.
Well, I was really shocked when I was reading on the news headline of I think a year 2 or year 3 senior high student that was apparently beaten or massacred during the inter-school thing on stadium in Cape Coast. And you want to read the headlines and the details. This guy was actually having an iPhone 17 together with some thousands of Ghana cedi. And I just asking myself, what's the connection between you and iPhone 17 and at that time of your life? We are not saying that you shouldn't be financially, okay, but I want to just tie in with what he's saying. I feel that we must place right at where they belong and apportionate or appropriate the right things at a time that they are very beneficial. At that time, I feel there is more of materialism and a measure of unsettling competitiveness that is eating into our fiber of education. And so it makes it very difficult for students to prioritize or even make a juxtaposition of whatever is right at the time. Because you're sending 17 there, you're sending almost 5,000 cities there. I mean, who are you trying to? We all know the vibe and we all know whatever it is, but I think that is the starting point of the challenges we have in...
But maybe it's from the parents. So how do you think parents can decipher when it comes to what their students need and what they don't need?
Yeah, that's why they are called parents. Every parent, I believe, know what is best for their ward. And sometimes, you know, this is a kind of like a generational defunct. The idea is that most parents that try to give a soft life to their children have had a measure of background stories. And so they don't want their children to go into that. But that's really a huge, should I say, misappropriation, if not out of place prioritizing. Maybe such a good gesture could have been done maybe as a startup capital or maybe as a measure of support to them even when they are yet to grow into that. So I think that should be looked at and balanced properly, and that should be okay.
Okay, so when it comes to our schools, I mean the university community, students mostly focus on how they could attain a degree, get a job and all that, but they do not really look at that part of, you know, saving, I mean, managing their finances and all that. What do you think is, why do you think students really overlook that financial aspects of themselves?
Yeah, he also made a very important point. Maybe it's not a saying, but it's a biblical principle that has to do with the fact that you should train.
Yeah.
Financial literacy starts at the home. I like to use myself as an example.
Okay.
Every coin, every CD, it's a measure of value that could save you in hard times. Trust me, there was a moment I needed just 10 pesos just to add up in order to be able to buy water from the traffic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at that time I wasn't having it. That time it was very material to me. So if we begin to let the child from the word go to appreciate the value of 10 pesos, 20, and as it begins to grow, you begin to carry it well. There's a saying that says that when you fetch your own water, you know how to carry it. You don't, you try to manage all those things. So financial literacy is not an academia thing. It shouldn't even be some kind of like a master class. It should be an everyday talk. A lot of we Ghanaians are poor, not because we don't have money.
You think we are poor?
I'm telling you. It's just a few people. You know, I think during the President's State of the Nation's address, trying to make some numbers of those who have cars in terms of the petrol, it sits around less than 5 million Ghanaians that have. How about the rest of the 30? What are they using?
Over.
And we are seeing it all over in the evenings, struggling to get. So if you sit down with an average Ghanaian and ask to make a meaning of how their spending life is, you see that there is a huge level of illiteracy because they spend as and when. In philosophy, we call them their existential.
Okay.
They spend as the occasion demands, all right? And they spend as per the competition. So literacy must begin from the home. It must translate even to the schools as far as the basic.
As young as what age?
Crèche. I'm telling you, yes.
My daughter in crèche should be able to save.
They should be
know
able.
The reasons
they are not
why
saving at that time
save.
because they don't have the wherewithal. But they should have that mindset that this coin can save me in that way. And with that, I think it can really help. So.
Okay. Now let's come to some key lessons, or let me say practical skills that the MasterCard is going to bring out? Let's talk about some of these things, because we always attend workshops and then attend masterclass, and then we listen to people talk, and then they leave. I want you to tell me how practical this masterclass or how different this is going to be.
Thank you so much. So with the masterclass, it's going to be very practical, where there will be teaching of budgeting skills.
Okay.
You know, a budget really helps you to allocate your funds well. And it would also teach the students how to save. I mean, with every money, with every income you get, I believe you should be able to save a portion of it. Make sure you pay yourself first. Yes. So you should be able to save some part. So the masterclass is basically going to teach how you should budget, how you should create your own budget for specific things in your life, how to allocate money. You should know that it's not all the time you would be doing impulse buying.
Okay.
You should be able to save an amount of money. Invest. One very important thing, investments.
Yeah.
They would also be teaching how to invest, where to invest. Yes. So basically
maybe you could tell me where to invest later so that I'll start investing. What makes this masterclass different from other educational programs?
All right. Thank you again. So this masterclass, as you rightly noted, we have a lot of speakers and talkers.
Okay.
Most of them even go to read and come to say it. But at LUP, we believe in practicality. What has worked for you, what has worked for him, we put them together and experiment it. And I'm going to use my own life as a huge impact to others.
Okay.
And I think that one of the key, one of the traceable, or one of the, should I use the word determinant, that you're going to be a person of value in terms of being rich, is the principle of savings. Nothing more, nothing less. When you are able to surmount this discipline and difficulty, you are on your way to financial freedom.
Okay.
We teach financial freedom at LUP because we believe that every human being deserves a good life. You cannot you cannot have a good life when you throw down or water down the impact and the power of savings. Do you know that through saving, I was able to save my home as young as age 13 because I was in junior high school.
Oh, really?
2.
What did you do?
Excellent. So I noticed something about my mother. When she goes to the market, she comes home, they try to leave the coins and everything around. I started picking them. I picked them and I was saving. I picked them and I was saving.
Did you get her approval to pick the coins?
No, but you know where they were? They were at places that I'm very certain she wouldn't even have made a known to it. So I started picking them, and there was one Saturday, she was hard pressed. She didn't have money. I went to my wardrobe and I brought all the coins. Do you know what the beautiful thing?
No.
So we are 3 in the family, with the children. Then every now when they are sharing the meat, they always have to be cutting it and I wasn't happy at all. So when I brought the money, that day I had a full chicken. I mean the chicken thigh and all this. So that's what savings can do. So that's one of the things you're going to really drum home. Another practical thing we're going to talk about is budgeting, as you tried to say. There is a principle called the principle of frugality. Being able to make a cut in our desire and our wants in order to be able to make a meaning of tomorrow. Then we'll do budgeting, practical way of budgeting. Then one thing that is very interesting is all the principles we're going to teach there, we put them together in a pack. We call it a financial, how do we call it, starter pack. Of which we would want the student to lay hands on. They can buy. It's not going to be free because we know what it means. So that also can help. About 33 financial plans to your financial freedom.
That's great. I hope I get one.
Yeah, I mean.
But me for free, though.
Yeah, it's going to be out on the 6th of March. Sorry, we're not able to get it in time. So we'll make a mention of it.
And I'll get mine for free. All right, so who should attend this masterclass? Elikem, right? Or Elikem, sorry. So who should attend this masterclass especially, and why is it now that, this masterclass is coming out, especially on financial literacy?
So, looking at the importance of the financial literacy at this current age, I would say that it should be open to everyone, but the main focus is the university students, particularly from level 100 to 400. That's like the whole university.
So I can't attend it?
You can attend. Okay. It's open to everyone. It's open to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sure. So beyond, Mr. Kwam, beyond this event, what is really the vision for empowering young Africans when it comes to financial literacy?
Okay, so maybe I'll say it a little bit because it's still in the ideation stage.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to pull up a project. Okay. And the project is to massively encourage the culture of saving.
Okay.
And we're trying to partner with banks and partner with NGOs and partner with institutions. And what we do is we're going to do this financial literacy all across the country. Okay. The goal is to raise 1 million Ghanaian students to be financially stable.
Oh, wow.
And we're doing that in so many ways. And we'll discuss it more even as we are going. Because I believe strongly that the Ghanaian is very intelligent. The Ghanaian is very enterprising. The Ghanaian is amazing. But then when it comes to our finances, when I sit on a panel and I hear people talking about brilliant ideas, the only thing stopping them is finances. Why is it so? The first book I wrote was a savings I made out of my national service money. And I was able to fund my book. And that's how come I started. When you get the time, I explain. But the point is, people, when they start receiving the national service, that's when their taste increases.
Exactly.
Their desires increases.
And responsibilities equally come.
If I just have some time, I'll just talk about money. I'll just do that in just 2 minutes. It can maybe help. It can maybe... You see, the issue about money is, it is wrong to chase after money.
Let money chase you. I think I've heard that before.
It is wrong to even want money. It is very wrong for you to even pray. Yeah, I'll talk about it more. To even pray for money and money. Because if you look at the Ghanaian youngster, all they are looking for and fixated on is money, which never comes. And so they are being deceived by Ponzi schemes, by betting, and always just to make it. But they never make it. Just 1 out of thousands, 10 are able to make a meaning out of it. But there are 5 sure ways that you can do or practice that can let money come to you. And I'll leave it for the master class. So when they come,
so we are coming for the master class.
When he started talking about not letting money chase you or
don't chase money.
I was like, hey.
Because, why are people wake up at 6 a.m.
It's easy. It has become a routine for students. And when I'm speaking, I'm always speaking from the student point of view because I'm a student. Students always chase money. I know. We are always looking for
anything that will bring money. It's not just students, but cutting across the young professionals, everybody.
So I was waiting to hear something that would turn my mind away from it.
So you said we should attend the master class. So finally, how can students who are interested register?
All right. So students can register with the link. There's a registration link for it. But then also on the flyer, there are numbers they can contact to register for the program. Yeah.
Okay. If there is one financial habit every student should start with today, what would that be?
He's trying to let me do. But I think I've said it times with a number. Please save. Save, save, and save. My principle is, if you cannot save 10 pesewa out of 10 cedi, you will not be able to save 10 million out of 1 billion Ghana cedis. So it's a culture.
All right, thank you so much. If there is one thing I have picked from this discussion, it is save. No matter how little your income is, or no matter your level as an individual. So thank you so much for coming. It's been an interesting and amazing conversation. So this has been the Hello Africa Morning Show, and this has been the lifestyle segment. If you picked nothing at all, let me tell you that no matter what you are doing, where you are, your level, your age, one thing you should do is to save at all times. My name is Jemima Deladem Duchi, and see you same time next time. Bye.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.